One by one, employees from the tourism sector show up here at the National Insurance Board seeking financial assistance.
Wherever you roam, and admit that the waters around you have grown, except that soon you'll be drenched to the bone. If your time to you is worth saving, then you'd better start swimming or you'll sink like a stone, for the times they are a-changing. Come writers and critics who prophesize with your pen, and keep your eyes wide, the chance won't come again. And don't speak too soon, for the wheel's still in spin. There's no telling who that it's naming, for the loser now will be later to win, for the times they are a-changing.
Hello, welcome to the New Economy, What's Next? Today we're going to talk about esports and the new opportunities that are there. We have two guests today, Michael Armogan and Tyler Gordon from Bahamas Esports, so stay tuned. So we're going to be talking about net exports and how that affects Bahamian businesses, foreign reserves, and foreign direct investment. So there are three players to this puzzle. There's the Bahamian business, there's the foreign customers, and then there's suppliers. What we're defining here as a Bahamian business is any company that does any production and creates value on Bahamian soil. So how it works is a foreign customer wants to buy a product or service, and that can be a physical good or a digital good, and they pay into the Bahamian business, and then the Bahamian business delivers that good or service. So a Bahamian business, in turn, in order to create value, has to get supplies. And so there's a payout to purchase those supplies, and then there's consequential delivery of those supplies. Net exports is simply payment in minus payment out. And because payments are done in international business in US dollars, it means US dollars in, US dollars out. If that in minus the out is positive, the foreign reserves go up. And if it's negative, the foreign reserves go down. Where does foreign direct investment and local investment come in? Investors, both local and abroad, are looking for businesses with a growth opportunity. There's opportunity to grow and expand their operations, and they need financing to do so. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Michael, why don't you start by telling us what the Bahamas Esports Federation does?
Certainly. So the Bahamas Esports Federation is a not-for-profit, non-governmental, religiously neutral, and non-discriminatory federation that's actually dedicated towards the growth and development of esports, gaming, culture, and the community in the Bahamas.
Cool, very, very cool. And when he says gaming, guys, he means video games. Games. You know, it's
different.
and what is the federation is responsible for, kind of like you said, organizing the sport of gaming.
Yeah, so our mission is that we're here to advance and regulate esports and to enhance its culture and develop the esports community throughout the Bahamas and conversely throughout the region. We're also here to establish and maintain a professional federation through which its members can be unified, supported, educated, represented, regulated, promoted, and of course entertained, especially for our spectators. The overall vision, is that the Bahamas becomes a major player in esports worldwide, and that esports can become a new avenue for entrepreneurship, job creation, tourism, youth empowerment, and development here within the Bahamas. And that the time, energy, and commitment, along with the passion that's invested in this, is derived from our collective vision of what esports in the Bahamas will become, and that the results fostered through esports in the Bahamas that the Bahamas Esports Federation aims to achieve and expects to include is not limited to just improved economy in the Bahamas, but also happier youth, improved academic education, and hopefully a reduction in crime and undesirable behavior.
Yeah, it's once upon a time I was a big gamer. A little too busy for that now, but no, it's people don't understand the 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 digital nature of it is inherently lends itself well for this post-COVID kind of world. Like you were telling me a little bit beforehand that you have some problems, but you can still meet up and still participate in the sport of it right from home. Tyler, why don't you talk a little bit about what you guys are doing now? I believe his title is the VP of Tournaments, so it's a pretty cool title. But why don't you tell me what's going on with esports?
Man, there's so many things going on with esports right now, both good and bad. But the thing I really like most about it is because it's digital. It's so resilient to the COVID pandemic and all the issues that are going on in the world right now. And so, even though we may have our a couple rocky instances, we're still able to, like you said, meet up online and participate. And so something that's been really big in the esports community lately has been online tournaments, especially for fighting games. And so, even though...
And when you say fighting games, you mean like Tekken?
Yeah.
Yep.
Tekken, Street Fighter, Smash Brothers, all of them have received, I wouldn't say a resurgence, but moving these tournaments online has allowed a much larger demographic of people to be able to access competitive gaming. And so that's something that's really, I guess, helped esports as a whole. Twitch numbers are going way up now, which is the dominant streaming platform in the West. And so, because of COVID, a lot of people are stuck in their homes trying to socialize, and video games are like the perfect way to do that. I remember seeing a lot of articles over, I wouldn't say the beginning of the COVID pandemic, but around like the middle, basically saying, oh, video games aren't all bad, these are how we connect with our friends, and basically just like normal people trying to destigmatize gaming from the idea that it's just for lazy couch potatoes.
It only took them 40 years, but and a global crisis to admit that.
Yeah.
But what people don't realize, for the viewers at home, is that esports as an industry is a huge industry. I mean, the last time I read up on it, it was like $300 billion a year. That's from the development all the way to the tournaments to the professionals. So we're going to talk about each of these aspects in the show. And but before we get into that, how did you guys get involved in the federation and getting it set up?
Well, the Federation was originally founded back in 2011, but then we really kicked it into gear middle part of last year, which is when we started taking memberships. And so now we have a number of different organizations, groups that are under the Federation now. Myself, I was in esports, not in the, I guess, what most people would consider the esports avenue, but that was during world first rating and stuff like that, trying to get on World of Warcraft. And so that was just trying to get world firsts and whatnot. And that kind of took me into the space. Granted, we had arcades here in the Bahamas for a number of years as I was growing up, and sadly those are no longer here, but that's technically where I really was introduced to the scene. But with the Federation, then we started up, and we've been just pushing along from there. Tyler?
Yeah, personally, I haven't been in esports as long as most of my peers, I guess. But, as a gamer my whole life, I've always been interested in pushing myself in the more competitive aspect of it. And so I discovered Twitch in about 2015, I think. 2015, 2016 or so. And that just like opened my eyes to a whole new realm of gaming, like professional gamers were literally right at my fingertips. Tournaments were literally right at my fingertips. And so I met up with one of my friends in about 2016 and 2017, and we basically realized that a lot of Bahamians didn't have the same access that we did, and so we founded our organization called Black Nebula to try and push Bahamian esports to an international level, as Michael said. And so, from that, just working from there, we've been able to make a lot of connections and grow the local community to, I guess, a more competitive level. And so naturally, we came in contact with Michael, and he told us about the federation, and that was something that we were really interested in because our goals really aligned so well. And so since about 2017, we've been building Black Nebula on our own. And then in about, I guess Michael said, like 2019 or so, we joined the Federation. And we've just been, working both fronts, the private sector and the Federation sector. And yeah, it's been going really well.
Cool. Awesome. And for people at home, this is a nice segue into the business of esports, because you mentioned Twitch now twice. What is Twitch? And it's only one of several platforms, but what is Twitch?
Yeah, so Twitch.tv is basically an online streaming service where anyone can basically broadcast the video game footage from their computer or their console to the internet. So anyone with internet access can tune in for free by clicking their link and watch them, play competitively. So anyone from, your friend down the road who's really good to, the top level pro players like Shroud. And so...
And there's a way of getting paid from that, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So there's multiple ways of getting paid from that. You can run ads on Twitch, which directly benefit the streamer. There's a subscription model on Twitch where you can pay $5 a month, and the streamer receives half of that, and Twitch receives half. You can also donate directly to the streamer through PayPal or any other, payment avenue, and they get 100% of that. And so there's really a multitude of ways to get paid from streaming. And so you see, a lot of people.
Yeah, and then sponsorships, which is traditional for sports.
Yeah, and then also Twitch has a bit system, which is basically like you buy tokens and you save them up and you can distribute them how you want. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. And so you see a lot of people who are really passionate about this, even though they might not be, the greatest in the world, really able to sit down and build their own community and put forth their personality, and they go from, having a 9-to-5 or a part-time job, barely making ends meet, to, making $70,000-$80,000 a year and being able to put a roof over their head and stream full time.
We'll be right back after a short message from our sponsor. At ArrowACX, we understand that for businesses to grow, they need capital to hire staff, buy equipment, and fuel innovative ideas. We support this process by using technology, years of business acumen, and a world-class team to get business the investment they need to get to the next level. If you are a business owner and need between $100,000 and $3 million, contact us today. We will schedule a meeting over the phone or video chat. Get on the path to your dreams. ArrowACX. Dream bigger.
Your printer is running at full speed. You're printing out multiple copies of the documents you're sending to customers and partners? Oh, right. One is sent, the other is filed. One is sent, one is filed. One sent, one filed. The copies go into the paper filing system so you can quickly access them at any time. Well, there isn't much space left. Why all the effort? Why not use DocuWare? While you print the document, DocuWare takes care of storage automatically. A real time saver for all involved.
So yeah, this past year has been crazy.
The UK has left.
The outbreak is very high risk.
Emergency order.
That the Dow will drop.
The job loss numbers staggering.
Retail traders are cashing in.
Join me on The New Economy. There I interview innovators, technologists, financiers, and business people on what's next in the new economy. Season 2, every Tuesday and Thursday at 9 p.m. on our TV.
To, you know, making $70,000, $80,000 a year and being able to put a roof over their head and stream full time.
Well, I mean, with those kind of numbers, I mean, just a simple calculation, if you're making $2.50 per subscriber and you got yourself 10,000 subscribers, you're making 25 grand a month.
A month.
Yeah, that's, I mean, and 10,000 people is not that many people. Not for how many gamers there are out there.
Yeah, it's kind of high for subscribers, because you'll find that most people really just watch the stream. Maybe I'd say ballpark about like 10% people who watch a stream subscribe.
Okay.
And so I think the highest number of subscribers I've seen on Twitch is probably like 3,000 or so.
That's still a good chunk of change, you know?
Oh yeah.
75.
Plus, don't forget the donations.
Exactly. And so you find that a lot of people would rather just donate directly to the streamer. And I feel like once you reach a certain threshold, you make more money off donations than subscribers.
Okay.
Because a lot of people will subscribe for just a month or so and then forget to renew their subscription. And so, yeah, you can count on that $5 for this month, but, you know, it's not really recurring.
Okay.
And so when you have donations, you know, that's a huge lump sum. I've seen people donate $300, $400, $500 just because they like the person. I've seen like thousands of dollars across multiple streams, just because, you know, the person giving away the money decided that they really wanted to support the big names in their favorite game. So it's really a lot.
Okay, so let's now that we're talking about the big names, why don't you guys speak a little bit about the pro circuit and what are some of the opportunities that are available there?
So right now we're in the middle of actually developing our national teams. We already have a few of them for League of Legends, Tekken, and Call of Duty. But we have a few other games in the lineup that we're going to be having qualifiers for. So if anyone's interested in that, feel free to actually just jump in, sign up whenever we post up information about that.
I might have to throw my hand in the hat for Tekken at some point when I get some free time. You know.
Okay.
That was my college fraternity game. You know, you sat down and you jammed that. But anyway, go on.
But yeah, like, so from there we've had matches against Jamaica, Colombia. We were part of the Afro-Caribbean Cup, which had 6 Caribbean countries and 6 African countries fighting off one another. We actually dominated in FIFA, even though that one was more of a... We had someone who was interested in playing for us because we actually hadn't had a qualifier, and we were just looking for, well, a lot of people were just looking for players to represent the country, and it wasn't something that was set in stone really. So in that aspect, we found someone, they completely destroyed the other countries that competed against them, along with what happened for Mortal Kombat. We haven't had a qualifier for that either, but things like that what we're aiming for. We're also going to be starting up some leagues so that, you know, that there's something that's competitive going on for school kids, for adults, for, you know, just persons that are interested in really taking things to the next level. And going to see where that leads us. That's probably going to lead us into Caribbean-based leagues as well, and nationals, and, well, regionals, I should say.
And is there like prize money for when you win these big tournaments? How is that kind of organized?
Some of them, yeah. Now, for a lot of them, they are more about bragging rights for right now, especially while the scene is starting to really develop, and everything's just like, happening for the first time, I guess you could say. Now, but as we continue on, we're already in talks of having prize pools for different things. A lot of the local tournaments, especially the ones that were in person, have prize pots because persons will come, they'll put in their entry fees, and then that's the pot. Sometimes the organizers will also put funds into that just to help boost the pot, make sure that people are really interested, and so on and so forth. And so when it comes to the leagues, we're going to be looking for things like that. We're going to be looking for sponsors. We're going to be making sure that it's something that's worthwhile for the players.
Very nice, very nice. Let's shift again. Now that we've talked kind of the federation, we've talked kind of like the athlete themselves, what's in it for the athlete. There's also opportunity for development of games. Can you speak a little bit to that?
So there's a lot that's happening within esports. It's not just playing, it's coaching, it's commentating, it's graphics, media, marketing, business intelligence, the whole gamut. But like you mentioned, you can't really do much unless you have your game developers as well. So we have a few game developers here in the Bahamas. It's not many, unfortunately, but there's one that's really already put out some games. There's a few that are kind of working and developing themselves first. And I've seen some of their test products, I guess you could say. But there's nothing that's really been put onto the market. And then, of course, you have persons that just take it up as a hobby. I quite literally know someone that she is just amazing with her graphics and 3D renderings and stuff like that when she's building up this world that has, but she's not taking it to that next level, I guess, where she's actually putting it all together just yet. She's taking her time, learning everything that she can. And I think that's where a lot of people are actually at right now. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't have the funds to have a setup probably like hers, but she has like multiple computers or graphics cards just helping to render and like get everything.
Oh no, yeah, these things are hugely intensive in terms of you need some specialized equipment. You can't just run that on a normal computer. At least if you want that to render within any reasonable amount of time. But that being said, you can also still do that kind of work in COVID, in the COVID world, because it's creative.
Game developers, like AAA game developers, are doing that right now. They quite literally have their developers working from home, graphic artists doing this, coders doing this, bug testers doing, just running the stuff. Granted, it's taking a little bit more time since you can't just walk over to your coworkers and say, hey, well, I saw this. But you still have the meetings, you still have everything that you need, and you can still run whatever you need. Plus, I'm pretty sure they have servers that they can connect to back in the office.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We're game. So for people at home, the development side of gaming is where technology, so programming, graphics, things like that, meet art, storytelling, artists. So it's the fusion of those two fields. So when we're talking about some of these aspects, understand there are people that come into it from the technology side, and there are people that come into it from the art side, the storytelling side, and that's kind of what's really unique about it.
Yeah, that's kind of where STEAM or STEM, whichever one you want to call it, really is something that a lot of people didn't consider with esports, but it's definitely there. For those that aren't aware, STEAM, which is the one I prefer to go with, is science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics.
Oh, instead of STEM. Okay, I get you. I thought you were talking about the Steam platform for gaming.
Oh.
But yeah, okay, cool. Which is also a good distribution platform for gaming. So once you publish your gaming, you can do that. But so there's all kinds of tools, technology tools, creation tools that are available to people at all of the different levels. We talked a little bit about, just as a recap for the guests at home, talked a little bit about from the player side, there's Twitch, and other platforms for streaming the games. From the federation side, there's the organization of the events themselves, which drives up users and drives up viewership. And then from the development side, the actual creation of the games. So this is a future that is only going to get more relevant in people's lives, especially if this COVID thing lasts another year or so. You can't play sports. I mean, what are you gonna do? How are you gonna? I'm a sports person, but you can't risk it. But what you can do is you can sign on your Xbox and be LeBron James and dunk on your boy. But anyway,
that's actually something that, and I think Tyler might be getting to this. But a lot of sports teams as well are actually moving over to the esports sphere because they know they can't play in person. So you have teams actually making esports teams.
Yeah, it's actually a really interesting phenomenon because there's basically two facets of it. There's the side where these sports teams are investing into the sport that they're already a part of, the traditional sport that they're already a part of. So you'll see, for example, the Miami Dolphins picking up a Madden player who plays the Dolphins exclusively for them, and kind of pushing him through the tournament circuit.
I hope he's better than the Miami Dolphins are actually, but.
I mean,
I'm a Dolphin fan for anyone and it's been a rough 2 decades. I gotta say that.
My father is a Dolphin fan.
Yeah, we like abuse. That's what this is about. But anyway, go on.
Yeah. So yeah, you have that, and that's actually, I shouldn't say it's been unsuccessful, but the traditional sports don't really do as well in esports as the more established esports already. And so you also have other organizations reaching out to basically esports organizations that are already established in the more prominent games and kind of bankrolling or acquiring them, to get their foot in the door in the whole esports realm. There's an organization named Complexity Gaming who's been around for decades at this point. And they've had like their fair share of ups and downs because esports is such a volatile industry, and over the years it hasn't really been as stable. But the Dallas Cowboys came in and acquired Complexity, and they built them a whole stadium in the Dallas Cowboys, I guess, facilities. They built them housing for their players. They have access to meal plans and personal trainers that the football players get to use, state-of-the-art equipment, internet, training rooms, video rooms, and all that sort of stuff. And so, there's really been a merging of traditional sports and esports because people are realizing that, hey, this is the thing of the future. If something like this happens again, I don't think traditional sports would be able to survive. And so you'll really see, esports kind of taking that place slowly but surely, especially because the video game industry as a whole it's still growing.
It's massively growing.
It's massively growing.
And it's massively profitable. That's
exactly.
So it's, I mean, what can you say?
Yep.
Opportunity follows money. So, so it's, gentlemen, thank you for coming on the show. That was Michael and Tyler from Bahamas Esports Federation. We'll see you next time.
I look outside my window and nothing seems the same.